Hello students. Let me introduce firstly myself. I am Ganesh Mani. For those students who have admitted newly this year, uh, as you know, I teach general science for the standard 8th A, and this is a joint venture. Mute kara, sir. It is a joint venture of standard 8th A and 8th B. So, as firstly, the first topic of our text was the classification, living things and classification of microbes. So I have made one video and I have uploaded that video on the YouTube, and I have also sent you the link. Uh, I hope you have understand that. I hope you have studied it. Now the second topic we are going to start here. So firstly, let me share my screen here. So on the screen we have one presentation. That is, the second topic of ours is diseases. So the second topic from standard 8 general science is diseases. In the first topic we have studied the various diseases or the classification of living things and the microbes. So there are various types of microbes which are essential, which are responsible for the spreading of diseases. So those are all parts we have studied in the first topic. I have given one link to the group, and I hope you have understand that. आता इथं एक मी सांगतो, इथं जे नवीन विद्यार्थी आहेत त्यांना मला असं सांगायचं आहे की कदाचित हे तुम्हाला इंग्लिश टू इंग्लिश थोडंसं सुरुवातीला, तर जे विद्यार्थी नवीन आहेत त्यांना थोडंसं अवघड जाणार आहे, पण तुम्ही प्रयत्न करा जास्तीत जास्त समजून घेण्याचा, कारण नवीन भाषा शिकण्याची हीच पद्धत आहे. जितकं तुम्ही ऐकाल तेवढं तुम्ही त्याच्याशी फॅमिलियर होणार. Okay. So there may be a technical problem. The link of that video I will send you further. So let's start the main topic, that is the health and the diseases. So we'll start with the health. So as we can see here, the health is the state of complete physical, mental and social well-beingness, and not merely the absence of any disease. So here, health does not contain only the physical, physical value is not included in the health, but we have to be mentally and socially also very strong. So that may be result, or that may lead to the health. And there must be the absence of any disease. So if there is absence of any of the disease, we can say that our health is good, and that will be necessary for society, or a healthy person or the healthy people can make a healthy society, and healthy society ultimately can make a strong nation. So for the sake of nation, for the sake of strong nation, we should have we should have the strong health. So we can write the health mathematically also. Health is equal to physical plus mental plus social well-beingness. So that can be a mathematical equation of health. We can do that. Now the disease, our main point is the disease. We can define disease as the condition of disturbances in a physical or a psychological processes of body is called as a disease. Now each disease has its own specific symptoms by which we can recognize that certain disease. Now it is a very primary knowledge for us. In this topic we are introduced only the some of the diseases, their symptoms, how to take care of that, or the preventive measures. But by general symptoms we can verify, or we can recognize the symptoms that from the symptoms that the disease is there. Now there are certain diseases that we are going to discuss in this topic are the tuberculosis, malaria, hepatitis, that is called as jaundice also, swine flu, dysentery, then the rabies, cholera, cancer, typhoid, diabetes, dengue, heart diseases. So these are some of the diseases that we are going to introduce in this topic. Now we can classify them according to the various aspects. So these diseases decreases our efficiency, as we know that all of us are doing work, and if we are getting ill, then our efficiency decreases. That's why we should have a certain health, or we should avoid such diseases. Now for that we have to take care of something. Now for that we have classified the diseases into two types. Now first we have to understand which are the two types of diseases. Now there are two aspects by which the diseases are classified. The very first aspects are according to duration and according to reasons. Now, according to duration, there are two types made: chronic disease and acute disease. So chronic diseases are those diseases which stays for a longer period of time. So it takes a long period. That's why they are called as chronic diseases. And acute diseases are those diseases which stays for a shorter period of time, like a flu or cold. These are the diseases which will be there for a shorter period of time. So these are the two types, chronic disease and acute disease, which are made due to the duration. Now, second type of disease is according to reasons. Now, there are certain reasons by which we get some diseases. So, again, according to reasons, again classified into two categories. The first is hereditary diseases and acquired diseases. Now we'll understand one by one. The first is hereditary diseases. Hereditary diseases are the diseases which spread from one generation to the next. So no pathogen or no change in weather are responsible for those diseases. These are just hereditary. So these diseases carry from one generation to the another generation. And the second type is acquired diseases. So acquired diseases, that means the meaning of the word acquired is taken or the got. So there are certain diseases which are taken from certain reasons. Now again, acquired diseases are classified into two categories: infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases. So infectious diseases are those diseases which we get by the direct contact with the infected person, like a common cold or flu or dengue. So these are the diseases which we can get, or which a healthy person get if he comes in contact with an infected person. So that's why they are called as infectious diseases. The second type is non-infectious diseases. So these are the types of diseases which do not spread through the direct contact with the infected person. That is diabetes or heart diseases or cancer. These are non-infectious diseases. There are certain reasons for that. So this is overall the chart of the types of diseases which are made by various aspects. So this is the chart given in our textbook also. So you can observe it or you can follow it. Now here we have to understand some diseases. So there is a chart also given in our textbook. So there are some symptoms, there are preventive measures and aspects or the elements responsible for that. So we are going to we are going to see some of the diseases. The first disease is tuberculosis, which is a short form as TB also. Now the pathogen responsible for that is Mycobacterium tuberculin. So as we have studied in the earlier standard, there are certain microbes in the sense there are some viruses, bacteria or fungi. They can harm various diseases, or they are responsible to spread various diseases. So for the tuberculosis, the pathogen responsible, or we can say in simple word, the microbe or the microorganism responsible is Mycobacterium tuberculin. So you have to take care of the pronunciation also. So it is the pathogen Mycobacterium tuberculin. Now the mode of infection. A mode of infection in the sense how this disease gets spread. So the main reason or the main mode of infection is spitting by patient through air. So if there is a patient who is having tuberculosis or TB, and if he used to spit socially, or he do not use hygienic conditions or hygienic habits, and if he spits in air. Through that spitting, small pathogens are spread over here, spread in air, and when a healthy person come in contact with it, he can also get that disease. Or the second mode of infection is prolonged contact with and the sharing of materials of the patient. So by having a contact with infected person, we can also get a healthy person also get this disease. Now there are certain symptoms. A chronic cough, chronic cough will be there in that disease. Bloody spitting, that is, there will be a blood while spitting. Emaciation, that is, in simple word we can call this as weakness. मराठीमध्ये आपण याला अशक्तपणा असं म्हणतो. Difficult in breathing, that is also the symptom of the tuberculosis. Now some preventive measures and the treatment is also there. The first preventive measure is a BCG vaccine. So this is the BCG vaccine which is for the specific type of tuberculosis, that is the TB. The second preventive measure or the treatment, we can treat it as a treatment as isolation of patient so that the other healthy person cannot get that disease. So that is also the treatment for the tuberculosis. And the treatment which is specially made for this type of disease is DOT. So that is also the treatment, regular medication like DOT. Now the long form of DOT is direct observation and treatment. So the patient having this disease is taken into direct observation, and he has to cure from that, and it helps to cure from that. Now, as we can see in this picture, when infected person spits in air various pathogens which are responsible for this disease, and not only for this disease, there may be certain various pathogens which are responsible for other diseases can also spread. So it is very bad habit to have this one. So we should avoid that. So this is all about the tuberculosis. Now these are the two pictures of the patient having tuberculosis. Now in this, the TB affects, or the pathogen affects the lungs of infected person. So we can say that it is somewhat similar to the COVID-19 by which we are just now suffering. So it affects the lungs and the function of our respiratory system. So we know that there are various systems which are being done in our body. There is a respiration system, a circulatory system, or nervous system, or excretion system. So these are all systems are working in our body, and this TB disease or the pathogen this responsible for this disease affects the lungs of human being. Now the second disease is hepatitis. It is also called as jaundice. Pathogens which are responsible for that, they are named as hepatitis viruses A, B, C, D, and E. Now again, mode of infection, the contaminated water. It is the main reason. If the water which we used to drink, if it is contaminated, then we can have, or the healthy person can have, hepatitis. A sharing of needles while injecting or while having while using the syringes. If needles are used, that is, needles are used by sharing, then also the person, healthy person, can get disease. And the blood transfusion. So if there is a blood given to the healthy person of the person which who have the hepatitis disease, he can also get that disease. So these are the some mode of infections. Now the symptoms. Anorexia. Anorexia, मराठीमध्ये आपण याला भूक मंदावणे असं म्हणतो. काही मराठी शब्द असतील ते तुम्हाला मी मध्ये मध्ये सांगत जाईल. बाकीचे जनरल जे आहेत ते तुम्हाला कळत जाईल. Yellow urine, that can be understand easily. General weakness. Nausea. Nausea मराठीमध्ये याला आपण मळमळ म्हणतो. Vomiting, we all know vomiting. And gray stool. विष्ठा जी असते ती ग्रे होते. तर यावरून आपण समजू शकतो की तो डिसीज कोणता आहे. सो बाय विच वी कॅन अंडरस्टँड विच डिसीज that person is suffering from. So this is the picture by which we can see pathogens, that is the viruses, hepatitis A, B, C, D, E, affects the liver of person, and we know that liver plays a very important role in the digestive system. So in this disease, the liver of a healthy person is affected by the pathogens. Now the prevention and the treatment. So prevention and treatment must be dependent on the mode of infection. Now, as the mode of infection, the first and important mode of infection is contaminated water. The prevention we should take, we should drink boiled water, so that if there are some pathogens responsible for that disease, when we boil the water, it will get killed and the water will be safe. And proper cleaning of hands, that is also the preventive measure by which we can stay away from this disease. Now the next disease is a dysentery. Pathogens are various bacteria and viruses are responsible for that. And Shigella bacillus, that is also a certain type of pathogen, and Entamoeba histolytica. This is also responsible for the disease dysentery. So it is very normal disease, but we have to understand its mode of infection is again the contaminated food and water. As it is related to our digestive system, the mode of infection, as it is very obvious, it is contaminated food and water. The symptoms are watery stool. Watery stool, we know that just we have mentioned here. मगाशी आपण ग्रे स्टूल म्हणजे काय सांगितलं, त्याच्यामध्ये विष्ठा जी असते ती ग्रे कलरची असते. हे वॉटरी स्टूल म्हणजे पातळ होते. पेन्स इन द ॲब्डोमिन म्हणजे पोटदुखी. So that is also the symptom of the disease. The preventive measure, again, preventive measure will be dependent on the mode of infection. As this disease is spread through the contaminated food or water, we should drink boiled water. We should use clean and fresh food, and the ORS consumption. Now we discuss what is ORS. The long form of ORS is oral rehydration solution. Now in this type of diseases, as the symptom is watery stool, now a lot of water is excreted from the body, and we know that our body is 70%, generally 70% of water is there in our body, which is necessary for carry out various functions. So to maintain that water level in our body, which is decreased in the certain type of disease, that is dysentery, ORS consumption, ORS solution should be given to the patient. So these are the preventive measures of disease, dysentery. Now the next disease is cholera. Again, the pathogen is Vibrio cholerae, that is the bacterium. Now again, you have to take care of the pronunciation, that is, it is the pathogen called as Vibrio cholerae. Now these are all the bacteria or the microbes which we have studied in the first topic. So some of them are harmful for us. So it is one of them, Vibrio cholerae, and from that the name of pathogen, the disease has got the name cholera. Again, the mode of infection is contaminated water, contaminated food and water. So this is the image of Vibrio cholerae, which again we have studied in the first topic. I will provide you the link of that video I have made and uploaded on the YouTube. See again, watch again. Now symptoms are vomiting, severe diarrhea and cramps in legs. So these are very easy symptoms, vomiting, severe diarrhea and cramps in legs. The prevention and the treatment. There are certain preventions like hygienic practices. So if we have hygienic practices, most of the diseases we can stay away from that. So that is also the main prevention for us. Avoiding open place food. So if we have a habit to have open food or the fast food, then it may affect or it may cause the disease cholera. Drinking boiled water again, and vaccination against cholera. So these are the certain preventive measures or the treatment by which we can stay away from this disease, cholera. Now the next disease is typhoid. So this is the pathogen responsible for the typhoid, which is named as Salmonella typhi. Salmonella typhi. So again, this is the pathogen which we have studied in the first topic. So this is the pathogen responsible for that one. Mode of infection is again contaminated food and water, as same as the previous one. So symptoms are anorexia. We have studied headache, हेडेक म्हणजे काय माहिती आपल्याला? रॅश अँड ऑब्डमेन, पोटावर थोडेसे रॅशेस येतात, डिसेंट्री अँड द फीवर अप टू 104 Fahrenheit. That is high fever is there. That is the symptom of this disease, typhoid. The preventive measure again, as the mode of infection is contaminated food and water, preventive measure must be drinking clean water, vaccination, and proper disposal of sewage, because it is also the mode of infection by which the pathogen of this disease can spread. So this is about typhoid. Now there is another we can say insect responsible for this one is the mosquito. So there are certain diseases which spread by means of mosquitoes. Now, and for the mosquitoes, when mosquitoes gather, so if we store some type of water and waste material, in that mosquitoes are spread. So we should take care of that. We should have a safe and clean environment around us, so that no mosquitoes will be there, and from that we can stay away from various diseases. Now we'll study the disease which is spread by some type of mosquitoes. The first disease is dengue. This dengue is spread by a certain type of mosquito called as Aedes aegypti. So this is the picture that you can see on the screen. This is the picture of Aedes aegypti. Now the virus responsible for this disease is Dengue. Now mind that Dengue is a virus and Aedes aegypti is a mosquito responsible for spread of dengue. That means Dengue aegypti is not a virus. Virus responsible for that is Dengue, which is spread by means of or through Aedes aegypti. And now this DEN12 is the virus belonging to the type flavivirus. So now for sake of the convenience or for the further studies of convenience, various microbes have converted or classified into various classes. So this DEN12 is the virus which is classified into the type flavivirus. Now the symptoms. Acute fever, so fever as we know, and headache and vomiting, these are the symptoms of dengue. Pains in the eye socket, that can be also understand. Decrease in platelet count that may lead into internal hemorrhage. Now here we should keep in mind that what are the platelets. Platelets are a very important factor of our blood, which is playing important role in our immunity. Immunity in the sense the resistance power of our body against these pathogens. So these platelets play a very important role in that. So if they decrease in count, there may be internal hemorrhage, and we can lose our immunity. Now there is another disease called as malaria, which is spread through female anopheles. So this is the image of female anopheles. Elephantiasis is another disease due to spread due to female culex. So again, as we have discussed earlier, in such places, in such dirty places, these mosquitoes grow, and due to that we can have these types of diseases like dengue or malaria or elephantiasis. Now here Anopheles and Aedes grow in clean water and Culex in dirty or sewage water. Now it does not mean that only sewage water or the dirty water is harmful for us. If there is clean water stored, in that water also Anopheles and Aedes can grow, and from that we can have those malaria and dengue. Now the next disease again we are very familiar with, that is the swine flu. So swine flu spread through the pigs and the humans, and the virus responsible for spreading swine flu, it is spread through the sweat of an infected person, and also it's spread through the secretion of nose or throat or saliva. जे लोक रस्त्यावर थुंकतात किंवा नाक साफ करतात, तर त्यांच्या ज्या सलायवा असतात त्या सलायवामधून याचे जे व्हायरसेस आहेत ते स्प्रेड होतात. त्यामुळे आपण हायजिनिक कंडिशन्स फॉलो केल्या पाहिजे. The symptoms of swine flu are difficulty in breathing, which is somewhat similar with COVID-19 again. Sore throat and sore throat and body pains.
हॅलो सर, ऐकू येईना.
डायग्नोसिस ऑफ स्वाईन फ्लू. तुम्हाला ऐकू येत नसेल तर तो तुमच्या मोबाईलचा प्रॉब्लेम आहे. तुम्ही मोबाईलवर तुमच्या खालच्या दिशेला खालच्या दिशेला खालच्या बाजूला डाव्या बाजूला खाली कॉल थ्रू इंटरनेट असं ते ऍड करावं लागतं. त्यामुळे ते जर नसेल तर तुम्हाला ऐकू येत नाही. ठीक आहे. डायग्नोसिस ऑफ स्वाईन फ्लू. दिस diagnosis of swine flu, the facility is available only at NIV Pune, that is National Institute of Virology, which is situated at Pune, National Institute of Communicable Diseases NICD, which is situated at Delhi. So these are the places where diagnosis of swine flu can be done. Now our time is getting closer, so only 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes we have remaining here. So now if some of you can have certain doubts, you can ask me. आता इथं मी सांगतोय बरेचसे जे विद्यार्थी आहेत ते नंतर येऊन ह्याच्यामध्ये ऍडमिट झाले. जर तुम्ही वेळेवर झाला असतात तर बरोबर तुम्हाला ऍडमिट करून घेता आलं असतं आणि त्याच्यामध्ये तुम्हाला ऐकू गेलं असतं. कुणाला बोलायचं त्यांनी हँड रेज करा. कुणाला बोलायचं हँड वर करा. हँड रेज करा. खाली हँड रेज आहे बघा. हँड रेज ऑप्शन आहे. ठीक आहे. जर नंतर काही असतील तर तुम्ही शैला सरांना मला कॉन्टॅक्ट करू शकता. मला जनरल सूचना आता सगळेजण एकत्र आहेत त्यामुळे मला द्यायचे आहेत. अगदी वेळ थोडा राहिलेला आहे. तर याच्यामध्ये जे नवीन स्टुडंट्स आलेले आहेत ज्यांचं ह्याच्या अगोदर मराठी मीडियम होतं त्यांना कदाचित हे थोडंसं टफ जाईल. तर तुम्ही असं करा की हे जास्तीत जास्त ऐकण्याचा सराव करा. जास्तीत जास्त इंग्लिश न्यूज ऐका किंवा पुस्तक वाचा. जितकं तुम्ही ऐकाल तितकं लिसन कराल तेवढं तुम्हाला ते त्याच्याशी फॅमिलियर व्हाल आणि तुम्ही ते समजून घेऊ शकाल. तर त्याच्यासाठी जास्तीत जास्त ऐकत राहा. नवीन भाषा शिकण्याची हीच पद्धत आहे. जर एखादा शब्द अवघड असेल तर त्याच मराठी मीडियमच्या पुस्तकामध्ये कुठला प्रश्न आलाय ते बघा आणि त्यानुसार तो अभ्यास करा. तरच तुम्हाला ते जमेल. पूर्ण मराठीमध्ये जर सांगत बसलो हे तर तुम्ही त्याला तुमची कधीच प्रॅक्टिस होणार नाही. तुम्हाला ते कधीच समजणार नाही. कारण पुढे 9वी 10वी गेल्यानंतर तुम्हाला ते इंग्लिशमध्ये शिकायचं. त्यामुळे त्याच्या सराव होण्यासाठी मुद्दा म्हणून मी जास्तीत जास्त इंग्लिशमध्ये बोलतो. आता कदाचित थोड्या वेळात मीटिंग संपेल. जर कुणाला आता शंका असेल तर आता हँड रेज करा आणि विचारा.
अजून अर्धा तास आहे म्हणून सांग. अजून अर्धा तास आहे म्हणून म्हणल्यात.
अजून कंटिन्यू करायचं का?
करा.
बर. हॅलो शैला सर, अजून किती वेळ आहे? 1 मिनिट राहिला. इथं मीटिंग संपणार आहे. ठीक आहे. तुम्हाला काही शंका असतील तर विचारा. आपण पुढच्या सेशनमध्ये आपण पुन्हा घेणार होतो. इथून पुढचा भाग जो राहिलेला आहे तो आपण पुढे घेऊया. त्याच्या अगोदर मी सांगतोय की पहिला टॉपिक जो होता लिव्हिंग थिंग्स अँड क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ मायक्रोब्स, त्याचा व्हिडिओ मी तयार केला आहे. तो युट्यूबवर अपलोड केला आहे. त्याची लिंक सुद्धा दिली होती. खूप कमी जणांनी तो व्हिडिओ पाहिला आहे. परत एकदा मी पाठवतो आणि त्यावर काही शंका असतील तर विचारा. आज दुसरा टॉपिक जवळपास 60 ते 70% आपला त्यातला भाग झालेला आहे. पुढच्या सेशनमध्ये आपण त्याच्या पुढचं घेऊया. अशा पद्धतीने आपण हे घेणार आहोत. आता मला इथे एक सांगायचं की हे फक्त झूम मिटिंगद्वारे आपण शिकणार नाही आहोत. जो आपली चाचणी सुरू आहे रयत शिक्षण संस्थेच्या रोज प्रकल्पांतर्गत ती होणारच आहे. त्याच्यासोबत नवनीत सॉफ्टवेअर आहे तेही होणार आहे आणि त्याच्यासोबत हे म्हणजे हे सगळं सप्लिमेंट मधून आपण वापरणार आहोत जेणेकरून आपल्याला जास्तीत जास्त अभ्यास या माध्यमातून करता येईल, ऑनलाईन माध्यमातून. आणि पालक जर असतील आता इथं कोणी जॉईन तर त्यांना मला सांगायचं की मुलांना तुम्ही या मोबाईलचं ऍडिक्ट होऊन देऊ नका. जेवढा वेळ गरजेचा आहे तेवढाच मोबाईल द्या, नाहीतर ठीक आहे. मग आता पुन्हा एकदा मी तुम्हाला तो पहिला जो टॉपिक आहे आपला त्याची लिंक पाठवतो. कारण पहिला आणि दुसरा टॉपिक हे दोन्ही एकमेकाशी रिलेटेड आहेत. त्याच्यामध्ये क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ मायक्रोब्स आहेत. तिथं काही नावं आहेत त्यांचा अभ्यास करा जे तुम्हाला दुसऱ्या टॉपिकमध्ये उपयोगी पडणार. तर ते लिंक पाठवतो, त्याचा अभ्यास करा. ग्रुपवर टाकतोच. आणि 8वी ब मधले जे विद्यार्थी आहेत त्यांनाही जर काही शंका असतील तर तेही विचारू शकता. असं काही नाही केवळ शिकवलं म्हणून त्यांनीच फक्त विचारायला पाहिजे. माझा व्हॉट्सअप नंबर अ2 तर अ2 मधले जे विद्यार्थी आहेत ते सुद्धा मला काही शंका असतील तुमच्या तर ते विचारू शकता. व्हॉट्सअप नंबर तुमच्याकडे आहे, कॉन्टॅक्ट नंबर आहे. आणि जो होमवर्क असतो जो दर मंगळवारी आणि शुक्रवारी आपल्याला मिळतो तो मात्र कंपल्सरी सर्वांनी सोडवायचा आहे. हे जास्तीत जास्त इंटरेस्टिंग आपल्याला सायन्स करण्यासाठी आपण सगळे प्रयत्न करतो. त्यामध्ये तुमचा रिस्पॉन्स मात्र पाहिजे. ठीक आहे. जवळपास मला वाटते कोणाच्या काही शंका नसाव्यात. आणखी याच्या पुढं जर कोणाच्या असतील शंका तर मला तुम्ही नक्की विचारू शकता. माझा कॉन्टॅक्ट नंबर आहेच तुमच्याकडे. ठीक आहे. आता जास्त वेळ इथं न घालवता आपण फॉर्मॅलिटीमध्ये आपण ही मीटिंग इथं संपवूया. पुढच्या वेळेला ज्या वेळेला मीटिंग असेल त्याच्या आदल्या दिवशी तुम्हाला नक्की त्याची नोटीस मिळून जाईल. आणि त्यावेळी मात्र वेळेस मात्र बंधन पाळा. अगदी 5 मिनिटांमध्ये तुम्ही 5 मिनिटाच्या आतमध्ये, जास्तीत जास्त 5 मिनिटं लेट तुम्ही हजर हो. ठीक आहे, एंड करूया मीटिंग.
ओके
ओके, ठीक आहे, थँक्यू.
ओके छान छान.